Hi guys and welcome back. Today we have a Nokia Lumia 520. This one in particular has a faulty power button. As always, ensure to power down the phone and remove the battery before any type of repair. As you can see from the diagram on the right hand side, these are the locations of the screws that need to be removed. It's also a good time to remove the SIM card. Once the screws are removed, we can use a plastic spudger to remove the rear cover. Take your time, start in one corner and work your way around. Once the clips are all undone, you can remove the rear cover. There's two ribbon cables on the board we need to remove, one on the top right, as marked in the diagram, and one on the bottom left. Once the ribbon cables are released, we can remove the board. It's a good time to inspect the board for any signs of moisture damage or anything that doesn't look correct. This is the connector we will be replacing today. These are so cheap as well, it would be a better idea to buy two instead of one in case the repair doesn't go according to plan. So as you can see, the connector is pretty loose in there at the minute. It has some dry solder joints, but this issue happened a while back and the button was unresponsive, so the user obviously was pushing it harder and harder and harder, and actually the solder joints broke. And the button is actually faulty at this stage as well, so we have no choice but to replace the entire button. Otherwise, if we got this earlier, we could have just reflowed the 4 solder joints on each corner and it would have been absolutely fine. I opt to use heat here to remove the top cover. It's connected to the plastic, but the solder joints are so fragile, I really want to keep the pressure off the board. I wouldn't worry at all about the plastic melting. We're going to replace the entire switch, so it doesn't really, it's irrelevant. So you can see here, I'll zoom in, you can actually see the dry solder joint. That would have been the original problem, and then the faulty button led on from that. So we're just going to apply some heat to the 2 rear solder pads. At the same time, I've got a little tool just in under the switch itself, just with a tiny bit of upward pressure. And as you can see, when we get the heat in the right area, the button will come away pretty easy. You could use hot air for this repair, but I find it's easier to localize the heat with the soldering iron. Again, don't worry about the plastic melting. The main thing here is to keep the pressure off the solder pads themselves. The solder pads are really, if one of them gets damaged, this job turns into a big job. General rule of thumb, especially with this job in particular, we're going to remove the solder that's actually on the board, as it has cracked, so we're going to replace it with new solder. So we're going to use some solder flux, and we're going to use some solder wick. The wick itself, you'll actually see it, it'll suck the solder off the pads. And there we go. With most of the old solder removed, we're going to apply some fresh solder. Once again, we'll clean with isopropanol. So we'll apply some fresh flux. This flux is particularly pasty. It's great for holding buttons in place and stuff. You'll see the button actually, the flux will hold that there while you tap the corners. Okay, so when we're all done, we need to give this a good clean. Any of the flux that would be in there would definitely attract dirt and dust and stuff, and it wouldn't be long shortening the life of that button. So you need to get it as clean as possible. Again, we're using isopropanol and just a little fine brush. So we're going to do a test fit before we put the phone completely back together. So we'll just reconnect the two ribbon cables. And insert the battery. And with everything fine, we can shut down the phone again and we can do the full reassembly. Just give as much as you can, it'll clean while you're here, and the reassembly is pretty straightforward, just the opposite of how we disassemble the phone. The back cover clips on and all screws are to be replaced. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe for more. The channel has got a lot of stuff like this on it. If you find this interesting, you'll like what's on the channel. And that is pretty much us. Okay guys, I shall talk to you soon.